I hereby call this special town meeting to order. Good evening and welcome to this special town meeting. I'm Bobby Betzel, your town moderator, and I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. I also want to thank you for your flexibility and understanding with the postponement of this meeting last week. It's a bit of a rare occurrence and how we were able to do it, but in the interest of public safety and everything, we appreciate everyone's patience and understanding with that. With this being a special town meeting, similar to last year, I am going to keep my opening remarks brief. We're here really to address one issue, and we appreciate everyone taking time out of your busy schedule, especially this time of year. I would like to ask everyone to please silence your cell phones out of respect for everyone that's here. In the event of emergency, our emergency exits are accessible through the doors at the side and the back. Restrooms are just out to the hall. Tonight, as I mentioned, we are here to handle one issue that is outside of our normal business of annual town meeting. Special town meetings, especially here in Hatfield, are just for that special occurrences. So with that, we will jump right in. Before we get started, I do want to note, similar to annual town meeting, a few procedural items. If you would like to speak, we do have the mic up front. We also do have a roving mic. I ask you to please come forward, give your name and the street that you live on for the record. Also remember to please face forward when you speak. Similar also to annual town meeting, out of respect of everyone's time, I ask that you please limit your time to 2 times up to the microphone and approximately 2 minutes, again, just to give everyone a chance to speak when we're here tonight. Oh, yes. Sorry, and Elena keeping me on my toes. Anyone that is a non-voter, we do have the row of chairs up against the wall there. So if you are a non-voter, you can sit there. If you are a voter, please make sure to sit forward. That way we know for the vote and anything that's taken in that regard. So thank you for your assistance in that. Again, out of respect for everyone's time, I'm going to do a limited introductions on who is here tonight, but just so everyone knows, and as we do also have a few new faces. So first, as I've already referenced, Town Clerk Elena Wilcox. Town Council, sitting in for Tom Mullen, thank you to Alan Sewell. On the Select Board, our Chair, Ed Jaworski, Greg Gagnon, and Luke Longstreet in his first town meeting. Finance Committee, Sean Barry, Darrell Williams, David Keir, and John Wilkes Jr. Our Town Administrator, Andrew Levine. Our Town Treasurer Collector, Tammy Wendelowski. And then a new face for folks here tonight, our DPW Director, Marlo Warner. As in the past, I also have, if needed, for our department heads, if they do need to speak and they're not residents, I have asked them to be present and certainly would welcome them to the mic if there's a question that pertains to their department. So thank you all for being here, and with that, we will go ahead and get this meeting started.
Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Longstreet.
I move we take up Article 1.
The motion has been made and seconded to take up Article 1 as in your handout.
Yes.
No, Luke, one more. Mr. Moderator.
What? Yeah, Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Longstreet.
I move that the town appropriate by transfer the following sums of money from the following available funds to supplement the current 2026 fiscal year budget. From Water and Sewer Enterprise Fund retained earnings, $35,000. From overlay surplus, $63,000. From cemetery sale of lots, $95,000. And that the town...
Luke, repeat that. $9,500.
$9,500.
Thank you. Sorry, Joe.
And that the town reduce the following budget line items in the current 2026 fiscal year budget by the following amounts. Select Board salaries, $2,633.23. Town Administrator part-time wages, $3,000. Town Administrator stipend, $1,500. Town Administrator telecommunications, $900. Treasurer bank fees, $3,000. Treasurer bonds and sureties, $500. Collector salary, $50,000. Collector other banking and lockbox fees, $500. Technology capital, $2,000. Tax title professional services, $10,000. Tree warden other expenses, $5,000. Vocational tuition and transportation, $50,000. Hampshire County retirement contribution, $28,280.10. Property liability public safety insurance, $15,000.
You've heard the motion made and seconded under Article 1. Before we move to discussion, since we are here for this specific item, I'm going to give Sean an opportunity to speak.
First of all, I want to say thank you for being here. Second of all, I want to say sorry that you have to be here. This is a meeting to address a issue with revenue, which is actually mostly twofold. One is an accounting error that we made with regard to Chapter 90. Chapter 90 has changed several times in the way that it works in terms of how it's appropriated and expended. And we counted it as revenue, which it is, but because it doesn't have to be voted on at town meeting to be expended because it's like a grant, we did not include it on the other side of the ledger. The way the spreadsheet was working was not clear, and we didn't realize that was happening. And because our Chapter 90 has increased significantly this year due to the millionaire's tax, which is earmarked for transportation and education, Chapter 90 has increased dramatically. So it's led to us thinking we have more revenue than we actually had. The other piece of it is, a smaller piece, is that some state aid did not come the way we thought it was going to. That's a problem almost every year while we create the budget because we have to sort of put it together before we know the exact final numbers. Fortunately, some of the numbers in here that we're going to use to address this problem came in less than expected. So just to hit a few of the big ones, vocational tuition and transportation, we always budget what we think will be the maximum that we're going to need because we don't have an exact figure, and it turned out we didn't need as much as we thought. Same thing with the retirement system. That's a little bit of a more complicated calculation in terms of what you have to pay, but also we get a discount because we pay up front. So you could pay in installments, and the town of Hatfield chooses to pay in one lump sum at the beginning of the year, and we get a substantial discount for doing so. So that saves us some money there. And the collector's salary line, we had a retirement in the office. We've spoken to the office, and there's an understanding that we will hire this position in July, but temporarily it will save us a significant amount of money by not hiring it until then. I would say those are the big highlights of this one. Overlay surplus, without getting into all the details, it's been voted on by the assessors. They've confirmed that this money is not needed, and this actually happens every few years. There's some overlay surplus. It's essentially money that we have to have on hand in case there are abatements. So, or things like that, where we can't collect the revenue that we anticipate, but this is what the assessors feel comfortable will be fine. So, just want everyone to know that they've looked at it and they've authorized the release. I think that's the highlights, at least in regard to this article.
Anyone else from the stage? If not, with that, then we certainly will take any discussion from the floor. Yep.
Mike Cahill, North Street. I guess I'll get the discussion going. Try to break the ice a little bit because everybody here, I'm sure there's other questions, a lot of other questions. First thing I want to do is to thank Andrew Levine for putting together this super presentation that we have on our hands tonight, as well as it having been posted on the town meeting website, Town of Hatfield website. He's done a great job summarizing things, and highlighting some of the challenges and providing us with basically the what and the why of the issues. I have two questions, specific questions. One is, as a result of this, what are the specific actions and controls that we're going to put in place going forward to prevent something like this happening again? That's my first question. The second question, and this might be intertwined with our second article, but the funds that are being repurposed to supplement the budget, not the accounts that are being reduced, but the funds that are being repurposed, I think they total $130,000 or so. Do we have a list of the accounts, the budget line items that are going to be subsidized by the repurposing of these funds? In other words, when we vote a budget at annual town meeting, there are a bunch of line items, and it shows the line items, and it also shows whether those line items are being funded from taxation or other funds. Okay? So apparently what's happening now is that we have, as a result of this, we have some line items that can't be completely funded from taxation, so they're going to be supplemented by these repurposed funds. Now, unless I'm wrong, maybe I am, but is there a list of those items, those budget items that are going to be subsidized in effect by these repurposed funds? So those are the two questions.
So I'll take the second question first, I guess. I guess it would be any and all. There's been no reductions. We passed a budget. The budget already has funding in it. We don't have enough revenue to support that budget. So it could be any and all line items. It's not, we're not voting to we're voting to fund the budget that we passed already. That's what we're doing. So the budget's already happened. So, I mean, what does the $1,500 from the stipend go to? The budget that we passed already is the answer to that question. So it's not, we haven't made any reductions, so there's nothing to supplement. The reductions we're making are on the list, actually. So it's not specific in that way. The specific parts already happened. We already passed the budget.
Can I just have one question, one more question?
Yep, just come up with like, thank you.
So we're looking at the budget in total.
Yes.
Okay. And in May, we had X number of millions of dollars associated with that budget being funded from taxation. And we also had hundreds of thousands of dollars being funded from other sources. So now the portion of the budget that was set to be funded from taxation is now, I shouldn't say being reduced because the accounts are not being reduced, but it's no longer being funded completely from taxation. It's being funded by another $130,000 that we've just discovered and we're going to repurpose. Right?
Some of which came from taxation. So the only thing,
Mike, actually, yeah, hand, because that's a good question. And I am giving some leeway, in terms of there's two articles, but they are very much intertwined. So we are kind of letting the discussion go a little bit further than we normally would for multiple. So just to clarify, Mike, are you talking about the funds from Article 1 or the funds that are discussed in Article 2?
Both. Because the first three line items.
Oh, Mike, sorry, just up to the mic, mainly because of the TV.
The first three line items in Article 1 and the rest of the line items in Article 2 are all of the funds that are being repurposed, correct?
Not really being repurposed, but just being used. We're not spending them someplace else. We're reducing the budget so that we can make it.
No, I'm not talking about the larger group, David. The larger group is, those line items are being reduced in order to help.
so overlay surplus is taxation. It came from taxation. The only one that didn't would be water and sewer retained earnings. That's from water and sewer. So that $35,000 is from water and sewer. But everything else is a result of taxation.
All right, let's not belabor this. Could you answer the first question that I had?
Oh.
What are the specific controls and activities that we're going to put in place to make sure that this doesn't happen again?
Well, so a couple of things, I guess. One is, in specific regard to the Chapter 90 and how it's accounted for, I suspect it will not happen again as long as we're here, someone's here, because I don't think we'll make that mistake again. And it was a human error. We are also we're exploring some opportunities with the accountants to do some more work relative to this. Is that correct, Andrew?
Yeah, I'll add two things to that, because that's a good point. It's just, we're going to be checking this for the future. But there's two systems that I think we need to fix here. So first of all, there'll be a new workbook that we use that directly matches the state's recap sheet that's used. Our current workbook is very useful in a lot of ways, but it doesn't have that extra recap check. And that will make sure that we are presenting a budget that is indeed balanced and matches up with the state's Department of Revenue's projections. So that will be helpful, and we'll make sure that that's included in the town meeting packet so you can see that it adds up. The second thing that we'll do is we will ask that the accountants, in addition to putting that together, just put in a brief statement saying that they have reviewed this multiple times and can certify that they believe it will balance based on the DOR spreadsheet. So we'll have those two checks just to make sure that those things are both done.
One of the issues is that we use two different spreadsheets because the one that we use to do the recap for the state and the one that Andrew is talking about we're changing doesn't present the budget in the way that people are used to looking at it at town meeting. So we use a whole nother spreadsheet that we put together for town meeting so that people can see the budget in the fashion that they're used to seeing it. I don't know if we're going to stop doing that. I would prefer not to, because it keeps it consistent and people can see it in the same way.
One last question, Bobby. So who specifically will be responsible for making sure that doesn't happen? What employee or groups of employees will be responsible for making sure that this doesn't happen again?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't sound like this is, quite frankly, it doesn't sound like this is any complex issue. We've had to deal with Chapter 90 income, if you want to call it that, or grants for years. We've also had to deal with the interaction and the intra-funding between the enterprise accounts and the non-enterprise accounts, the budget itself, for years. And all of a sudden, this pops up. So it's just not as though it's a one-off that's, an exception that has never really involved transactions like this before. So
Yes, that's true. We are using a workbook, though, that is different than the one we've used in past years. And it's changed multiple times in the last 5 years, I would say. The people responsible for putting the budget on the floor at town meeting are sitting right here. So we're not employees, we're not paid, and there was a mistake made. And I just don't know how to take accountability for it beyond that. To say, I'm sitting here to take accountability for it.
Kim McGovern, Main Street. My question has to do with actually asking you to clarify something. So the Water and Sewer Enterprise Fund retained earnings, is that money that's paid by people who use town water and sewer?
Yes.
So if I remember correctly, at last meeting or somewhere, with all the updates that have to happen, fees increased and people are paying higher fees to help defray the cost of what it is to improve the sewer system, bring it up to. So are you taking $35,000 out of those fees and putting it towards the general budget? Because it sounds like that wouldn't be a fair thing to the people that are paying those extra fees.
Well, you're right, it does sound that way. However, nobody is actually paying increased fees to support the cost of the sewer system that's being upgraded. That is being paid for out of taxation.
But
So the water and sewer does not fully fund itself through fees. It's subsidized by taxation. So people who aren't on the sewer system are basically paying.
okay, all right. I'm sure that's not good news for anybody who's not on the system right now. But
I mean,
yeah.
there's probably a public interest in keeping sewage out of the Connecticut River and, other things like, I think that that's a valid, and to support businesses in town that need it. I think there's definitely a
Yeah.
public commons good argument to be made for that. It's not self-sufficient, so not really.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay. With no further discussion, I'm going to ask all those in favor of Article 1, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Article 1 is passed.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Gagnon,
I move we take up Article number 2.
motion has been made and seconded to take up Article number 2 is in your handout.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Gagnon,
I move that the town transfer the following amounts from previously passed warrant articles to supplement the current 2026 fiscal year budget. Annual town meeting, May 13th, Article 14. Town hall garage renovation, $2,000. Annual town meeting, May 22nd, Article 24. Drainage Raymond Ave, $12,000, $961.67.
Greg, hang on one second. Okay, yep, keep going. Just want to make sure we're good on that.
Okay.
Yep.
Annual town meeting, May 22nd, Article 23, trash compactor, $5,000. Annual town meeting, 5/23, Article 18, laptop fire ambulance, $3,500. And annual town meeting, May 21st, Article 15, SCBA, $4,141.18.
You've heard the motion made and seconded under Article number 2. Is there any discussion? Michael?
What is SCBA?
Self-contained breathing apparatus, air packs.
Any other discussion on Article number 2? Sorry, what? Self-contained breathing apparatus. Essentially air packs to the fire department. Yeah. I see it. Sorry. Yep, go ahead.
Good evening, Doug Finn, King Street. None of these were, none of these funds were the subject or related to a borrowing, correct?
You sound like our town council. Yes, we absolutely checked. These are not subject to borrowing, so it's a majority vote rather than a 2/3. Thank you for checking.
Just quickly, I know no one has, just to say, these are all projects, I just want to point out, because we always hear about when things go over budget. So these are things that went under budget, or we found another source of money to pay for them in some cases. So we budgeted for it, but then we got a grant, or we didn't need it, or something else happened. But, so these are all dead accounts essentially, that if we don't clean up, will just sit there forever. And we do this every year at town meeting. Usually there's a few of them, and these are some that we haven't cleaned up yet.
Okay. Any further discussion on Article number 2? If not, all those in favor of Article number 2, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Article 2 carries. And again, that was a simple majority. Thank you, Doug, for always confirming that, because that does come up. So with that, I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. Again, it's it was a short meeting, but we appreciate everyone coming out and helping us with that. As always, thank you to John and his team for their work. As we approach the holidays, I hope everyone has a happy holiday season, happy and healthy New Year. And with that, I hereby dissolve this special town meeting.